Hey everyone, welcome back, and thanks for checking out the videos that I've been making so far. I know this is only the second video, so not really much to say for that. It's 2022, and here are 3 creative ways to waste time in 2022. Now, I know that sounds misleading, and we're talking about, time management. Uh, I mean, the real fact is that, you're working and maybe you hate your job. Maybe you're looking for something different to do, and you're taking any break that you can get, and you're probably spending it just keeping your mind off of the actual thing that you're doing, or maybe you're just keeping your mind off how boring everything is, or how you're unhappy with what's going on. So I want to shed light on a few things that I think may be helpful in wasting that time better. Uh, a lot of times people like to throw it out like, hey, use your time productively. Here's what you should be doing. But you know how it is. I mean, you take a break. What are you doing? You're scrolling on your phone, right? You're looking at social media. You're doing things that are wasting time, right? Well, the good news is there's a way to monetize wasting that time on your phone, right? So I want to dive into the first idea that kind of came to me this past week because one of my goals in 2022 is to pick up 2 new languages that I'm unfamiliar with. This does a lot of things. Number one, I want to travel more and I want to visit different countries. And if I want to visit different countries, I want to be comfortable with the language in a way to where I can at least do basic things like, uh, you know, be able to talk to a clerk at a hotel or order food at a restaurant or ask for directions, right? The second part of that is it would make me more employable down the road. If I can understand different languages, reading and writing those languages, sweet, awesome. Okay, so what does this have to do with wasting time? Well, you might be thinking, yeah, I don't have time to, go learn a new language. Well, Duolingo is an app that's awesome, which, by the way, I don't have any sponsorship with them. It's just been recommended to me a lot. So that's something I've started using, and I really like the way that Duolingo is set up. It's challenging, it's fun, it's really engaging. I feel like if there are lessons I don't truly understand, I can go back and redo it and take my time. And again, that's the thing, right? Taking time, wasting time, right? So rather than me scrolling through, my Instagram feed or my Facebook feed, I find myself looking at Duolingo more. And the great thing is that the lessons are only like 10 minutes long. So, maybe one of the things that you could do in a creative sense to, make money off of wasting time is investing in yourself by learning a new language and utilizing that and kind of seeing the long-term play of learning a new language, right? Maybe you want to get out of your job situation and you're not happy with it. Okay, well, what skill sets are you going to be able to change and adapt so that you can get to where you want to be instead, right? That's one of the plays that I'm aiming for this year with my own personal goal as well as my own business goals is I want to be in a position to where I feel comfortable with other languages. All right, let's go on to the second thing that you can do. I know most people that are probably following me or watching me or are friends with me are creative types, right? Whether they are in music or theater or dance, there is a lot of potential for making extra money doing what you do best, monetizing your talent, right? Now, this doesn't have to take very long. Again, it really doesn't. In my first video, I talked about 3 ways to improve your online presence with your business in 2022. And that may have been geared more towards people who already have a business that has been established for a little while and maybe they're moving into the digital space. So this particular idea is mainly focused on people that are just starting or maybe need a push in the right direction to help them get to that next step, right? And they're wanting to leave their job. Creative types, there's a lot of awesome apps that you can download for your phone or for your computer that I highly recommend. And just stick with me here. You'll kind of see where I'm going to go with this. Um, what I'm doing right now is part of my creative outlet, right? So I have spent a lot of time in the music world, and one of the things that I had to do uh, through my career, my short career in teaching music and going to school for music, was learning how electronics work. It's not something that is taught in school unless you seek out a course that teaches you things about how electronics work, both in the hardware sense, like the physical world, and in the software sense, right, the digital world. So, right now I've got a piece of hardware that's in front of me. It's the thing I'm talking into, right? It's my microphone. I've got what's called Logic Pro, which is a digital audio workstation. It's on my MacBook that's recording the sound, right? That's my software. I've got my phone here that's recording me on video, right? Now, you don't need all this high tech, but if you took your phone and you have a decent app, one of my favorites is called Filmic Pro. That's FILM Pro. It is a great app that you can download for your phone, and what it does is it changes the settings so that you have almost cinematic quality, right? Like the film industry does with a lot of their high-end cameras. The other thing is most high-end phones today have 4K and HD capability, so there's really no need to download that app unless you are using an older model or you're unfamiliar with how settings work, or maybe you have more understanding of how in-depth video can work to your advantage. So you want to play around with the settings. So what do you do with this? Okay, I've got my camera. I've got I've got talents in theater, or I have done something with music or dance. There are people that are monetizing their talents on different social media platforms, right? So going back to my first video, I talked about recording anything and everything, right? Taking those breaks at work, film yourself dancing, or film yourself playing music, film yourself acting, film yourself showing people what it is that you can do creatively, right? And capture that and record it, because you want to have a nice archive. You want to have a history, a cache of all the things that you've done, right? So when we're talking about moving things and monetizing them online, it's so different because you're building your portfolio online, right? You're building your resume online. It's not just a piece of paper anymore. People want to see what you're doing, right? People want to be invited into your life and what you're doing. And maybe you're not comfortable with that yet, but start in small steps, like I'm doing with this video, right? This is something that I was not comfortable with maybe a year and a half ago. Even longer than that. And like I started a podcast just to help me get more comfortable with what I was doing. And podcast was a good introduction because I'm not being seen on screen, right? And this is like my first time where I'm filming stuff consistently and I see my face and see what I'm wearing and all that stuff, right? So the point with all of this is to record that stuff, look at it, see, hey, is this something I'm comfortable with putting out there and showing people, right? And then from that point, building that archive, building that cache is something that can be really helpful later on when there's a job opening, or maybe you want to create your own business that specializes in that talent that you have, right? Building an academy if you wanted to, building an online course to coach people. If you want to build an online course, like especially for my creative types, maybe teachers, there's an awesome company called Teachable, and Teachable is a great way to essentially create your own courses and sell that to people, right? That's brilliant. All right, my third and final thing of this, in terms of wasting time in 2022, is I would highly recommend learning a new social media platform. I know that seems really strange, right? I've always had a hard time accepting and moving into a new space that I'm not comfortable with, and kind of like going against the grain. And that's something I have to deal with personally all the time. And my perfect analogy, or not analogy, my perfect example of this is TikTok. I was against TikTok for so long. I did not want to use it. I did not want to see it. And it wasn't until my wife actually convinced me. She's like, just check it out, just check it out. And even my mother-in-law too was like, hey, check this out. You've got to do it. Here's why. And so I listened to them, and so I really did a deep dive into how TikTok works, and it's so amazing from a marketing standpoint. Like, I don't have to pay to get my material in front of the right people, because the way TikTok's algorithm works, it is going to show people things that they like and gravitate towards, and it'll continue to feed that information, right? So I highly recommend learning a new social media platform. And social media is like fashion, okay? It's generational, it's fashion, it's always changing. And so it's important to be able to learn what new social media platforms are going to bring to the table, because we're now in a position to where people can monetize, or have been monetizing themselves personally as a brand, right? And if that's the direction that we're going in, and we're continuing to go in, that means that more people are going to be making money in this digital gig economy, and what is being called Web 3.0, right? Web 3.0. Quick history lesson, Web 1.0 is, when the internet was first developed, it was an idea, it was a concept. You were talking, 80s and 1980s and the 1990s, right? And then the dot-com boost in 2000 led to Web 2.0, where we have all the social media platforms that started to take off, understanding of sales and how to do more shopping online and engagement, right? So there's a lot of data mining from people, and all their information was being collected and essentially being sold to companies so that they could market to us and take our money, right? And now we're in Web 3.0, which is giving it back to people to be able to sell themselves and their brand and their marketing and make money off of that, which is a really exciting time, because if you're thinking of making the leap, this is a really good time to jump in. And if you're going to jump in, obviously do it in baby steps. It's overwhelming, but just pay attention to those new social media platforms that are coming in, and making sure that you're learning how they work. And at some point, maybe you're not comfortable with, or you can't take on learning so many more. Hopefully by that point, you will have somebody that you can outsource research and development for, right? So like, one of my ideas with scaling my business is that I know that social media is constantly going to be changing, and I want to be in a position to where I can help manage young teams of people that are going to be more comfortable and confident with some social media platforms, because I'm not going to be able to help manage that. I'm not going to have enough time in a day to really be able to give oversight to learning these new platforms. I want to learn the basics of it, but I'm going to get to a point to where I can let younger people be able to be employed and learn all about those platforms, and really help from a marketing standpoint. So that's one of my business goals for the year. So those are the three things that I think that you can waste time with in 2022 and can help build a portfolio and eventually monetize. So quick recap. Number one is learning a new language. Number two is spending time recording and creating content of your talent or your skill set. And number three is wasting time learning a new social media platform.